What is going on, my Jets family? I want to thank you for tuning in to a special presentation of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Glad you guys joined me on your Tuesday afternoons. I know some of you guys are at work, you're probably catching this later, but I appreciate you guys that are here live. Shout out, thank you for being here. So again, this is a special episode of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. And it's a special episode because we just got some breaking news. Our breaking news is about Marcus Maye. So I imagine most of you, if not all of you, have seen it already. But just to, read it for you so you have it. Ian Rappaport, Rap Sheet. Obviously, if he says it, it's legit. I mean, it's coming from the top NFL source itself, really. They said that just an hour ago, despite the Jets publicly stating their efforts to quote-unquote relentlessly re-sign team MVP Marcus Maye, the team has not responded to his last proposal, and that offer has now been pulled off the table. With 48 hours until the tag extension deadline, no deal is expected. And then Ian actually adds that negotiations went south weeks before the tag deadline when the Jets offered Maye a deal that had an average per year about 20% below even the tag amount, which that was surprising to me. That was very surprising to me. It said Maye turned down the New York Jets offer and had significantly more in average per year and guarantees for multiple teams heading into free agency. So this was kind of shocking to me. I mean, at the same situation, though, and I tweeted this out, my first immediate reaction is I believe in Joe Douglas. I mean, as you guys know, I've never really said that before. I mean, if this was freaking Itzik or McCagnon, my first reaction was they screwed up again. And it does seem a little weird because as you guys remember, I kept feeling that the big issue was because of the time. I mean, Marcus Maye is 28 years old. So I figured the issue wasn't money. I mean, Joe Douglas has proven it with Carl Lawson, with Corey Davis. He's proven he understands value and he's willing to pay when the value's there. That he's even said it before, that he understands value. But it's kind of weird because what Maye's making under the tag, about $10 million in change, is not a lot of money. And what Ian Rappaport is reporting was, again, that they said that the deal the Jets offered was about 20% below the tag amount, below it. And I would get why Maye would turn that down. I mean, safety is not a premium position. And we saw that with Jamal Adams. We saw that when Baby Boy cried his eyes and bawled his brains out and banged the table. Safety is not a premium position. They don't make crazy money. In fact, the highest paid safety in the NFL, I don't have it in front of me, but I think he only makes about 15 million, 15, 16 million, give or take. So I would have kind of figured, and again, you guys remember when I talked about the Maye situation, I thought the issue was time. I thought Maye wanted like a 3 or 4 or maybe even 5-year deal. And Joe's like, wait a minute, you're 28 years old, dude. Like you're 2 years away from 30. And this is your first big payday out of your rookie contract. So I figured, what they would try to do was like front end the deal, like be like, okay, let's make it a 2-year deal or maybe even a 3-year deal, and let's front load the money. Like front load in the money. I was just on, if you guys want to check it out, they haven't brought it live yet, but I was actually, while the news was breaking, the reason I didn't get it out immediately to you guys was I was actually a guest on the Jets UK podcast. I was just on the Jets UK podcast. That should be coming out pretty soon. But they brought that up. And before they brought up, that this had happened, what I had said was, I figured it would be something like 2 years, maybe 28 million with like 18 million guaranteed because he does deserve it. I mean, the man deserves to be paid. Marcus Maye has proven, in my opinion, better than Jamal Adams because we kept saying, that we kind of kept it a secret and, didn't want to admit it to ourselves when Jamal was with us, but he's not great in coverage. He never has been. He was never that good at coverage safety. He was good in everything else, but he lacked in coverage. Marcus Maye proved last year he can play in the box. He's a big hitter. He's a big striker. He can do it all, and he's a good coverage guy. He's actually quite good in coverage. This was really surprising to me, and I'll be honest. It was very surprising to find out that the issue was the money. I was not expecting the issue to be the money. I was expecting the issue again to be time. I figured, again, if we saw something, it was going to be more, front-loaded with, more guaranteed in the beginning. to, and give more guaranteed money in general to keep him on, because Marcus Maye is really, really great. But again, I do come back to, I trust Joe Douglas. And, I tweeted it out, right when this had happened. I said, I have faith in Joe Douglas. He's not going to overpay. He's not going to be taken advantage of. He's always going to work in our best interest. Everything Joe Douglas does with these trades he's done, getting 2 firsts for Jamal, he got more for Jamal than the Falcons got. I mean, we got more for Sam Darnold, one of the statistically worst quarterbacks in the league, than the Falcons got for a future Hall of Fame wide receiver who's one of the best of all time. It's because Joe knows what he's doing. You guys remember my takes have been across the board in his decisions, his actions, his contract negotiations. He's done everything right. So I come at it, the NFL is a business. And I want Maye back. Don't get me wrong. I want him back. And again, I was surprised the issue was money. I really thought it was going to be an issue of duration and time, but I trust the process. That's honestly the way I propose this. I trust the process. I trust Joe Douglas to, make the right decisions and make decisions that are in the best interest of our franchise, that he's going to make good long-term decisions. Remember back in 2020, everyone questioned his free agency. I kept saying it was brilliant. I was like, he's fixing the budget. He's fixing the budget that McCagnon had destroyed and put us in this financial position we are now. So again, Maye deserves the money. I mean, I was saying I would give him like a 2-year, $28 million deal. So that's like $14 million a year, with like maybe $18 million of it or so guaranteed. Front end that deal because we have the money, and pay the dude, keep him around for at least another 2 years or so. Maybe when he hits 30, he's still great. Give him another payday. Problem solved. But that's what I would have done. I'm very shocked to see the money be the issue. That's my big take on this. I really thought, again, the issue was duration, that he wanted like 3 or 4 years. So I don't know if you guys want to, chime in the comments. That was the big surprise to me. The big surprise to me was that they're saying it's about money, and that Joe offered Maye 20% less than the tag, when I thought the tag was even kind of low for, what he should make. So again, that's interesting. I don't fully agree with it. But for the first time in this tenure, I trust the process. And James makes a good point. James points out, maybe some of our hybrid safeties will actually pan out as a safety. It's definitely possible. You guys remember in my podcast episode yesterday, if you guys didn't check it out, I know most of you were there probably. We went through all the different positions. Then when we got to linebacker and safety, I pointed that out. I said that we have a lot of versatility, and that's what you want in this. You want a hybrid system where players can do multiple roles, confuse defenses. They don't know what's coming at them. I mean, Hamza Nasruddin, Sherwood, they can play safety. And guys like Ashton Davis or even Maye, they could play hybrid linebackers. So there's a lot of plug-and-play pieces right here, and there's a lot of interesting ways to go. And I honestly come back to, even though I don't agree with the money situation, I honestly thought, he deserves the money. And that was surprising to me, because Joe's even said, remember when free agency started, the big thing I said was that, you have to really listen to what Joe says. He's very meticulous and very specific in the words he uses and the things he says. He doesn't show his hand, but he says just enough. And remember, I kept saying that he said that when opportunity meets value, we will be aggressive. And that's why, even though people were saying, oh, he's not going to spend in free agency, I said he would on players that are deserving of the money. And that's what he did. Marcus Maye is deserving of the money. I mean, again, he's one of the better safeties in the NFL. Unlike Adams, who couldn't cover, Maye can do it all and cover. I really did, again, think the issue was going to be time, because he is 28 years old. I thought, again, he wanted maybe 3 or 4 years, and we were going to do a more expensive deal with a shorter amount of time, front load that contract, give him more guaranteed money. But again, going back to the report from Ian Rappaport, he literally said that Maye turned down the Jets' offer and had significantly more average per year and more guaranteed money from teams heading into free agency. So my hot take on this is, if that's really the case, if the Jets are honestly lowballing Maye money-wise, he could walk next year. I mean, James points out, tag him again next year. Maybe he gets tagged next year. Maybe he walks. I mean, again, I thought the issue was duration, how much money was guaranteed. I'm really shocked to see that the Jets were lowballing him like that. But again, I trust the process. I do honestly feel that Joe Douglas, whatever he does, every decision he makes is in the best interest for me, you, and our franchise. That the decisions he makes, the money decisions he makes, whatever decision he makes, it's in the best long-term decision of our franchise. So I am surprised by this, but which is surprising to me, honestly, because again, I've never done this with anyone else before. But with Joe Douglas, I trust the process. So I trust that he knows what he's doing. I trust there's a reason he's doing what he's doing. If Maye doesn't get done, he has a plan. He has a plan. He knows what he's doing, and he's going to make this team great. So that's the situation with Marcus Ray right now. It's really interesting. The deadline, obviously, they're not going to get a deal done. It's obviously not going to happen. And that's what Ian said. Ian literally ended the tweet with 48 hours until the tag deadline, no deals expected. And it makes sense with the Jets, pulling the offer from the table because Maye had not responded, and the fact that the offer was so low. It's interesting. But again, I trust Joe. I trust the process. I feel like Maye deserves the money, so it's going to be an interesting situation to see. But don't forget, he can be signed next year. Like James said, you could tag him again. It's an option. I mean, I don't know if I would do that. But again, if he plays at a high level, he's worth the tag. So if Marcus Maye plays at a high level next year, he is worth, the 10, 11 million it would cost to tag him. So you could always tag him next year, or maybe they do come to a long-term deal. Maybe at the end of the season, Maye balls out just like he did last year, and he gets a deal like that. He gets like a 2-year, $28 million deal that would carry him till he's 30, 31 years old and give him a good amount of front-loaded guaranteed money. So it's interesting. It really is interesting. But again, my big shock is I thought that contract issue was going to be about duration. I really did. I thought it was going to be about time duration. And, because he's older, I didn't expect that he was being lowballed, 20% lower than, what the tag was. So that's my take on it. I appreciate you guys being here. I want to thank you again, like always, for tuning in to especially this special edition of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. As you guys know, our shows are Mondays live at 7 p.m. I look forward to seeing you guys then. Or like this, anytime something big happens, some breaking news happens, I'll come to you guys. I'll be there. We'll talk about the Jets. You bring your comments. We'll have some fun. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being here for this special presentation. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and go Jets.